Man, it's been long enough. I almost forgot that I have to turn on my microphone. I have to press the go button. Hello, everyone. It's this button. There we go. How is everyone? I apologize for being away. I had a lot going on, but I'm glad to see so many people are here. For my return. Is that BB? It is Luffy. Hello. Mostly exhausted. BB. I am alive. Didn't see the day that BB would be reading. I know. I have to figure out how to get improve my mental capacity somehow. Go from 4 brain cells to at least 5. I'm drinking tequila. Nice. Then I'll hopefully help you rest. Cause that's kind of okay. So we already had the book reading stream. We had the meme one, which was the Ninja Bread Man. We had that one when we did. Oh wow, it's almost a year ago, huh? When we had our big 1,000 stream, but I never got around to doing the actual book stream. One, because I couldn't figure out what book to read. 2, I wasn't sure if like how to do it, I guess. So I decided that I'm just gonna try it and see how it goes, and if people actually like what this is, then I will put more effort into it, basically, and we'll like finish books and stuff. But basically I'm just gonna read you a book, a bedtime story. Mama Elska was the one who picked this out, so if we don't like it, you don't get to pick on me. You yell at Mama, and I don't know if that's a fight you want to take. Oh no, please don't break already, internet. I had my stream started loading. I got scared. But anyway, hi Mossy, Alex, Nami, Nightmare, Berserker, Raymond, Ezekiel, Damascus, Matt the Beast, Bahamut, Juicebox, Telos, Nami. Anybody else I might have missed? But basically, yeah. So the idea is what you're saying, Ezekiel, especially because how late it is. Hi, Panda. It's 8 p.m. for me. East Coast people, it's like 11 p.m., right? So I was thinking that it could be like, bedtime story, basically. Yell at Mama, never. Who dare? I'm saying exactly. I don't think any of you are capable of yelling at Mama. She's the one who picked it for us today. My original idea was to do those really dumbed down children's choose your own adventure books, but I feel like we're gonna do that later, just because I'm gonna do a real book to test the waters, and then we'll do joke books, because I feel like the joke books people would want to pay attention to, whereas this one's a little bit more relaxing time, where it's basically gonna be an audio book for you. If I ever yelled at someone's mama, my own mama would be my your mama raised you right. Feel like Mama has Broly power levels. Yes, that is basically how Mama Elska works. She's normally just, you know, you'd think of a fairly mundane scientist. You can even go very stereotypical with her scientific look, with her lab coats and her lanyard that has her name tag on it, you know, and her glasses. But as soon as you do one thing wrong, she does absolutely turns into Broly, and she just goes full muscle, and she will beat your ass. I brought my PJs. Yeah, slumber party. I have a Hispanic mother, so screaming at any mother is a death sentence for me. I didn't know that was a Hispanic thing. Good to know. My mama is just like, my mom is the exact same way. So it's like a fun time then. I agree. My mama's great. Yeah, the Hulk is a scientist. So Berserker, Mama Elska's basically the Hulk. So yeah, Mama Elska picked this book. If the book is not for us, we'll find another one. But I basically cut out all the middle, like, man of, like, thinking about, like, oh, we should do a poll for a book, or we should choose a genre together, or whatever. I just had Mama Elska pick. She's like, this is a book that she talks about at least once a month in the last year or so. She's gotten all my aunts and a sister and everybody, friends, to read this book because she stands by it so much. It's a comedy book, comedy adventure book. that I don't really know much about, except that she stands by that it's been a while since she's laughed out loud at a book, and this book made her laugh out loud. So she'll probably be ecstatic. I didn't tell her that I'm actually reading it. She's going to be very ecstatic once I tell her which one. Comedy book? Yeah, so it's an adventure. What's the actual, like, description of it? What's the actual description? It is a lit RPG adventure book. The Necronomicon? I would love to read the Necronomicon. Funny Nomicon. Written by a clown. So I wrote the book. So I'm sure as soon as I'm gonna say very quiet so that Mama Elska doesn't. You've read it? Tell us. Come on. Well, I guess that's fair. You guys are usually pretty good at letting me know if something's boring, like bad, instead of funny bad. If the Necronomicon's boring bad, that kind of sucks. But that means I'm not gonna do it. We all know that. Hello, Mangler. What did I miss? Nothing yet. We're about to start. It's like a lore dump. Boring. If I want anything, I'll just do the YouTube recap. You know, there's always people who make those lore videos. I'll just do the lore video recap of the Necronomicon, and then I'll call it good. I'll say I read it. It just summons undead to devour my neighbor's lame. Yeah, I mean, you'd think you'd be able to summon something a bit more powerful, right? Come on. Like... Is it Blood Meridian? Are you trying to guess the book? No. I have no idea what it is. I don't know anything about this book except for, a man runs around in his underwear, apparently. H.P. Lovecraft? I've read 2 H.P. Lovecraft books, and I gotta be honest, I don't remember anything about it. When I was working at my old job at the, grocery store, I listened to audiobooks all the time. And I did try listening to 2 different H.P. Lovecraft books, and I don't even remember anything about them. I got bored. The imagery was really cool, but it took way too long to get to, like, the spooky stuff. Yeah, it's not Captain Underpants. Yeah, Lovecraft can be it's very elongated sentences and stuff. It's very fitting once he gets to, like, describing, like, obelisks or visions, but as soon as it's normal people, it's like, all right, he had a nice coat, Should read us Grotrek and Felix so we could see you simp for the dwarf. Well, I don't know what that is. Oh wait, no, you told me about that book. I remember now, Steve. Yeah. His prose are old-fashioned. Yeah, Raymond. So it was a bit hard to keep track of when I was just listening to it. I felt like I needed to actually be there and read it because my brain would skip when I was listening to, because I listened to a lot of audiobooks when I was working. So, is it the Lord of the Rings Gollum script? No. So this book is called Dungeon Crawler Carl. It is a recommendation for Mama Elska. It has a 98% of readers like this book, so I am optimistic as I am staring at the Google page. I love Lovecraftian monster stories, but they seem to like to drag to get to the good parts. That's basically what it is. That's basically what all Lovecraftian was. Try and say that title 10 times fast. Dungeon Crawler Carl, Dungeon Crawler Carl, Dungeon Crawler Carl, Dungeon Crawler Carl, Dungeon Crawler... Wait, you sit for Gimli? A bit of a downgrade from Aaron Black. No, I was a Strider. I'm a Strider girl. I will admit that, when I indulged in Lord of the Rings, so I'll you know, I'm a bit obvious there. clearly she tosses Gimli. Yeah, I toss Gimli. So I don't know. Should I leave the? I should probably not have the normal background noises, right? Not the Gimli grammar. No, I thought we were just talking about like waifu. No, Gimli is like the best actual like coolest character. But if you want like fangirlness, I like Strider. Do I put on like a nice fireplace sound that we play over this? Is that what we do here? Yeah. Oh, do we have? Let me see if I can Google dungeon ambience. Yes, please. Okay. And then if we're in a dungeon, then I'll put on free. I gotta make sure I put the word free in there so I don't get in trouble. Generic dungeon sound, 2 hours. Woo! We have that on in our back pocket. All right, we're gonna get to the fireplace. Let's turn on the fireplace real quick, guys. Hopefully you hear the slight crackling of the fireplace. Let me know if you could hear it. Should I add some glasses? You're right. Because the only glasses I have are blue light ones for when I'm like staring at things. So I don't have them on actually normally when I read. Maybe I should get some reading glasses. Look at this bookworm nerd. I am a nerd. I need to improve. I need to make sure I am a warrior physically and mentally warrior. I gotta upgrade. I should just have like the extra. I should just have this window, this YouTube window in a corner. That'd be pretty funny. 10 hours coffee shop. You want me to put on some sick lo-fi beats? Alright. I want everyone... Alright, everybody get comfy. You know? Sit back, relax. You know, lay down in bed. You know, put on your what you need to do for work. If you need to write a paper. You know, if you want to sit down, start eating dinner or whatever. You know? We're gonna, you're gonna listen to me talk. The battles are won before they're even fought. Get smarter. I'm doing it, Telos. I am working on a blender. Perfect. Path of Exile? Oh, no. And Butter Pop, let's go, Mangler. I keep end up saying Morgler instead of Morglor because of the name. All right, let me have a sip of water. Well, like I said, this is the test run. If we enjoy me reading a book, then I'll upgrade the environment. For now, we're just gonna sit back and relax. All right. Are we ready? All right. Three, 2, 1. We begin. This book is called Dungeon Crawler Carl by Matt Dinniman. Is my fire too loud? I think the fire's too loud. It's too loud for me. The transformation occurred at approximately 2:23 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. As far as I could tell, anyone who was indoors when it happened died instantly. If you had any sort of roof over you, you were dead. That included people in cars, airplanes, subways, even tents and cardboard boxes. Hell, probably umbrellas too. Though I'm not so sure about that one. I'm not gonna lie. You guys who were inside, probably warm and asleep and dreaming about some random bullshit. I'm jealous. You're the lucky ones. You were just gone. Splattered into dust during the transformation. It was a Tuesday, and the calendar was just ticked over to January 3rd. A terrible winter storm had descended on North America, and half the country was buried in snow and ice. In Seattle, we didn't have too much snow that night, but it was well below 0, which was unusually cold, even in January. I'm sure in other parts of the world where it was warmer and not in the middle of the night, many more people survived. many more. I also bet most of them were probably wearing some clothes. More clothes than I was at the time of the incident. And those assholes were smart enough not to go into the light. Me, I didn't have a choice. Like I said, it was below freezing. I was outside, and I was wearing boxers, a leather jacket, and a pair of pink Croc sandals that barely fit me. Me, I didn't have a choice. Like I said, it was below freezing. I was outside. I just repeated the same sentence I just did. Ignore me. He was wearing pink Croc sandals. I was also holding a crying, scratching, squirming, and spitting cat named Princess Donut. The Queen and Chunk. She was a tortoiseshell Persian cat worth more than I made in a year. My ex-girlfriend called her Princess Donut for short. I just stuck with Donut. This fire is crackling really loud. Hold on, we gotta dose it out a little bit. So let me back up about 10 minutes. I won't bore you with too much backstory, but some of these details may be important. My name is Carl. I am 27 years old. After a stint in the U.S. Coast Guard, I ended up working as a marine tech fixing electrical systems for rich assholes in their party boats. I, up until a few days before this started, lived with my girlfriend in our apartment in Seattle. Her name was Patrice. B. She went to the Bahamas for a New Year's thing with a bunch of friends. She didn't tell me her ex-boyfriend were along with her on the trip. I figured it out pretty quickly when I saw the picture of her sitting on his lap on Instagram. I don't like drama, and I don't deal with it well. Whether she was actually cheating on me or not, it didn't matter so much. She lied. So I called her up and I told her we were done. I promised I'd have all her stuff ready for her to go when she got back. No drama, no fuss, but we were done. She asked her parents to come and get the cat, but they lived on the other side of the Cascades, and nobody was getting through any of the passes with this weather. So I promised I'd look after her until Patrice got her back. Oh, Patrice got back. So let me tell you about Donut the cat. Like I said, she's one of those fluffy, flat-faced cats that look like they need to be sitting on the lap of a Bond villain. B and I shared a 2-bedroom apartment, and one of those rooms were dedicated to the cat, if that tells you anything. More specifically, the room was devoted to Donut's Best in Show ribbons, her Best in Breed ribbons, and the countless trophies and framed photographs of her sitting on a table looking all fuzzy and pissed off while B and a judge stood behind her. B probably had 50 of those pictures. She'd won a mess of ribbons and trophies and photographs pretty much every time Patrice took Donut to an event. And B took the damn cat to a show almost every weekend. Her whole family was into raising and showing Persian cats. Me? I didn't really know much about the whole cat show world. I didn't want to get involved. Like I said, I don't do drama. And let me tell you something about cat people. More specifically, cat show people. Actually, never mind. Fuck those guys. All that's important is B and Donut were a part of this whole world I didn't want anything to do with. I never considered myself a big fan of cats. Because, if we're being truthful here, I like Donut. That cat did not give two shits about anybody or anything, and I could respect that. If Donut wanted to sit on my lap while I was blasting away on PlayStation, then she sat on my damn lap. If I tried to pick her up, she hissed and scratched and jumped right back up there. And then she looked to me with a squished face and said, "What are you gonna do about it?" I'd be tempted more than once to throttle the thing, but I'm not an asshole. Plus, I could respect the little monster's tenacity. Some of my buddies would give me crap about it. Me spending all this time with a fuzzy cat that was probably worth more than I would make in a year, but I enjoyed it. I enjoyed having the ball of fuzz sitting on my lap. One of Patrice's ironclad, this is not negotiable rules, was no smoking in the apartment. So after our fight and breakup, I made a point of smoking as much as I could. I know, immature, but it was freezing outside. Donut didn't seem to like the smoke too much, and the smell clung to her hair. So as a compromise, I would crack the window when I smoked. So when I woke up at about 2 a.m., having been startled awake by a dream, I decided I needed to smoke. I pulled out my pack, cracked a window, and I lit a cigarette. Donut, who had been sleeping right next to me on the bed, decided that very moment that she wanted, for the first time in her life, go outside and explore. I just lost my place. There it is. She jumped up on my shoulder and she leaped out the second-story window onto the tree outside my apartment. Just like that, I'd had that window open dozens of times over the past year, and she never even given the window a second glance. But tonight, on the coldest night of the year, the furry asshole decided to Lewis and Clark her way out of the apartment. She scampered down the tree, sniffed at the sidewalk a few times, and then promptly realized it was cold as fuck. Her adventure over as quickly as it began. She rushed back up the tree and stared at me over the 5 feet from the window to the branch. The adventure all drained out of her. Donut decided not to risk jumping back inside, so instead, she decided to start howling at the top of her lungs. I spent the next several minutes cursing at the cat, trying to coax her back inside. I opened the window all the way, sending gales of ice-cold air into the previously toasty apartment. The fuzzy black and beige and white cat just sat there, bitching and howling so much I feared one of the neighbors might wake up and shoot her. I left my boots in the dryer all the way in the building's basement. I didn't know where the hell my running shoes were, so in a momentary decision I come to quickly regret. I squeezed my feet into a pair of my ex-girlfriend's Crocs, pulled a heavy leather jacket on, and I rushed outside to grab the cat. Part of me kept saying, screw it, it's not your cat, let the fucker freeze. But, like I said, I'm not that much of an asshole. As much as Beatrice deserved it, she loved the damn cat. And poor, stupid Donut wouldn't stand a chance out there in the cold, not for long. Plus, again, the cat was right here, howling like someone was eating her children in front of her. I rushed down the stairs and I jumped outside, rushing to the tree that sat between the sidewalk and the building. I immediately regretted not taking the time to put proper clothes on. The cold, windy air sunk its claws into my legs and feet. Donut was right there, sitting on the tree just out the reach, looking between me and the open window in the apartment. She continued to howl. A light popped on in the apartment on the first floor. I groaned. Miss Parsons. Grumpy, I like to file complaints. Miss Parsons. Donut, I said. Come on, you little shit. I held out my arms, and the cat jumped into my arms. It was something I trained her to do. I could shake a bag of cat treats, and she'd jump right up there. I would make the pss, pss sound, and she'd sometimes jump on my shoulder. I cursed myself for not bringing cat treats out with me. I redacted. The window on the first apartment floor slid open. What in God's name is going on out there? Miss Parson called, sticking her head out the window. The old woman had her head wrapped in some sort of towel, making her look like a swami. Her beady eyes focused on me. Carl, is that you? Yes, Miss Parsons, I said. Sorry, my cat got out and I'm trying to get her in before she freezes to death. It looks like you're the one who's going to freeze too. Miss Parsons never finished the sentence. Slam! It happened so fast. The building smashed down to the ground. I watched it happen. The 7-story apartment building was there one moment and then it was gone. But it hadn't disappeared. I was looking right at Miss Parsons when it went down. It was like the building was a massive tin can that had been crushed by a giant cosmic boot. I saw it. I heard it. Wind rushed at me and it was instantly dark outside. The street lamp just to my left was gone. The buildings all around me were gone. The cars on the street were gone too. Everything was gone except the trees and the bicycles in the bike racks. And Marjorie Williams mopped that was still booted by parking enforcement. I looked around, the freezing weather momentarily forgotten. In the dark, overcast night, I could barely see anything. In the distance, a distance I could see now thanks to the lack of buildings, a fire burned. There was utter, complete silence. What the hell? I said, spinning in circles. A couple of random things remained, like bike rack. The stop sign was there, but the street sign next to it was gone. It didn't make sense. Where the cars were parked on the road, car-shaped indentations of dirt appeared, as if they'd been pulled down towards the center of the earth, being ripped directly through the asphalt. Donut jumped into my still outstretched arms. I looked at the cat, not knowing what to do or say. "What the hell?" I said again. All that remains of the building was a rectangle of churned dirt and rocks. Me too, Tyler. I hate it when everything around me just kind of gets crushed. And then I saw it, right near my feet. It was Miss Parsons' head. In the dark, it was hard to discern, but I immediately knew who it was. It hit me at that moment. The sudden shock of the buildings was one thing, but there were people in those buildings. It was almost everybody in the damn city. Hell, even most of the homeless people were in shelters. There had been a whole thing on the news about them rounding everybody up because of the extreme cold. It was 2 in the damn morning on a Monday night. Everyone would be in bed, and that means everyone was dead. I kept spinning in circles like an idiot, not knowing what to do. I felt sick to my stomach. Donut started to squirm, having decided I was useless. She clawed at me, but I wouldn't let the cat go. Then came a voice. A male robotic voice. It spoke in my head. The voice was like a physical thing. A spike in my brain, scratching me. It wasn't speaking English, but I understood the words. As the person spoke, the text also appeared floating in front of me. Surviving humans take note. What? I said out loud. Who's there? I kicked at the floating words with my foot, and the 2 small croc went flying. I hopped over and quickly shoved my foot back in. The words moved with me, floating just a few feet in front of my face. Even the letters weren't English. They crawled down, not across the screen, but I knew them. I understood them. Like I've been reading the language my entire life. Per syndicate rules, subsection 543 of the Precious Elemental Reserves Code. Having failed to file a proper appeal for mineral and elemental rights within 50 solars of the first contact, your planet has been successfully seized and is currently being mined of all requested elemental deposits by the assigned planetary regent. Every interior of your world has been crushed, and all raw materials, organic or inanimate, are in the process of being mined for their requested elements. Per the Mined Material Reclamation Act along the subsection 35 and Indigenous Planetary Species Protection Act, any surviving humans will be given the opportunity to reclaim their lost matter. The Borant Corporation have been assigned agency over the solar system and allowed to choose the manner of this reclamation. And they have chosen option 3, also known as the 18-level World Dungeon. The Borant Corporation retains all rights to broadcast, exploit, and otherwise control all aspects of the World Dungeon and will remain in control as long as they adhere to the Syndicate regulation regarding world resource reclamation. Upon successful completion of level 18 of the World Dungeon, regency of this planet will revert to the successor. A Syndicate neutral observant AI, myself, has been created and dispatched to this planet to supervise the creation of the World Dungeon and to ensure all the rules and regulations are properly followed. Thank you for the $5 super chat! Thank you, Raymond. Please pay careful attention to the following information as it will not be repeated. Per the Indigenous Planetary Species Protection Act, all remaining materials, estimated to be 99.9999999% of the sifted matter, is currently being repurposed for the subterranean World Dungeon. The first level of the dungeon will open approximately 18 seconds after the end of this announcement. The first level entrances will be open for exactly one human hour and 1 hour only. Once the entrances are closed, you may no longer enter. If you enter, you may not leave until you have either completed all 18 levels of the World Dungeon, or you meet certain other requirements. If you choose not to enter the World Dungeon, you'll have to sustain yourself upon the surface of your planet, and this may be the last communication you receive during your lifetime. All previously processed matter of the elements are forfeit. However, you are free to mine and utilize any remaining and naturally occurring resources for your own benefit. The Bourne Corporation wishes you luck and thanks you for the opportunity. For those who wish to exercise their right of resource reclamation, please take note. There will be 150,000 level 1 entrances added to the world. The entrances will be marked and easy to spot. If you so choose to enter the first level of the dungeon, you will have 5 rotations of your planet to find the next level down. My nose is stuffy. There will be 7,500 entrances to... 75,000. Yeah, 75,000 entrances to level 2. There will be 37,500 entrances to level 3. 18,750 to level 4. 9,375 entrances to level 5. 4,688 entrances to level 6. The numbers of available entrances to the next lower level will continue to decrease by half, rounding up until the 18th level, which will only have 2 entrances and a single exit. Crawlers who choose to enter the world dungeon must find a staircase to descend to the next level down before the allotted time is up for that level. Once the time has passed, the level will reclaim, and all remaining matter in the level, organic or inanimate, will be forfeit. Generated loot and other matter that is not gathered and claimed may be placed in the syndicate market. Each lower level will have a long period of reclamation. Additional rules come into play once any crawlers descend to the 10th floor. These rules will be explained when and if any crawlers reach that level. If you so choose to enter the world dungeon, it is highly recommended you immediately find and utilize a tutorial guild. Multiple tutorial guilds will be seated throughout the dungeon on levels 1 through 3. If you have any additional questions or you wish to file an appeal, such requests must be submitted by writing directly to the closest syndicate office. Thank you for being a part of the syndicate. Have a great day. I hope you guys paid attention to all those those rules and conditions. My brain could barely parse any of what the voice had said. So bewildered I was at everything that had just happened, I could no longer feel my legs. I had been outside much too long, and I was in serious danger of freezing to death or losing toes to the cold. I had to get inside, and I had to do it now. There was no inside anymore. There weren't even any cars. I eyed the fire that continued to rage a few blocks over. I needed to get over there, and fast. I turned and I started to shuffle run. I hope the test is in multiple choice. You don't want it to be multiple choice? Wouldn't it be easier if it was multiple choice? The wind, which had been a light breeze before the buildings all disappeared, was now a constant freezing gale that stank of the ocean. Donut twisted in my arms, scratching at me, trying to get free. She chomped onto my shoulder, but my jacket protected me. I clenched the cat tighter. Was this a dream? Had I accidentally been dosed with some sort of hallucinogen? World dungeon? What the actual hell? What did it even mean? My mind continued to race. I immediately thought of Pathfinder and Dungeons and Dragons, and other games I haven't played since I was on active duty. I couldn't see a single damn person. I was surrounded by only the sound of the wind. A horn, like a trumpet, sounded, blasting through the night air. I stopped dead, looking around. What now? Is the dungeon appearing, I thought? This is happening. Holy shit, this is happening. Less than 100 feet to my left, right in the middle of what had once been a thrift store, a spotlight burst into the air. I saw an additional spotlight appear about a mile away. I turned and I saw a few more littered throughout the city. Even from this distance, I could feel the warmth radiating from the brightly lit hole in the ground. I didn't think about it. My head still swarmed with all the information that had just been thrown at me. The pink Crocs barely fit on my feet. The distant fire was further away than I thought. I had seen firsthand what hypothermia did to people. So I turned towards the light and I ran. Wow. We're now on part 1. I had a teacher who gave me multiple choice tests that were a nightmare. Well, don't worry. Mine will be like 3 completely, absolutely wrong, and then 1 that was the right one. Like, you would not need to have, if you didn't have common sense, you don't. If you don't have common sense, you don't pass. No, that was the prologue. Alright, I need to drink water. So we first chapter done, guys. I don't care even about. Thank you, Steve. Alright. Dungeon floor 1. Time to level collapse 5 days. An ornate staircase led down into the light. Each step appeared to be made of wrought iron, and the whole thing was wide enough to accommodate 20 people walking side by side. Glowing warmth radiated from the hole. I took a step, falling down a little further than I anticipated. My footfalls echoed into the brightness. This was a city of almost 1 million people, and I was the only one here. Donut, who had stopped fighting, clutched onto my shoulder and started growling as we descended towards the bright light. Welcome, glorious warmth beneath beckoned me deeper. My legs and feet, which I hadn't been able to feel, were now starting to burn. I hadn't been out in the cold long enough to sustain any real damage, but I was frostbitten as hell. The stairs seemed to go down forever. The iron steps were carved in an odd pattern depicting what could have been a fish, or maybe demons. The almost Asian-looking carvings gave me an uneasy feeling. These stairs weren't here just a few minutes ago. This whole thing is made of the buildings and cars and people of the world. Who did this? How did they do this? By the time I reached the bottom of the stairs, the temperature had risen to a humid, balmy 80 degrees Fahrenheit or so. The metal stairs ended at a marble floor and a hulking door that stood about 30 feet tall and was just as wide. The wooden arched doorway was carved in a shape of a massive fish demon, like the stairs. I looked up at the double doors. What the hell is this thing? I muttered. As I stared at the door, an information box popped up over the door. The box appeared so suddenly and unexpectedly that I stepped back. It was like I was in a game. Or maybe wearing special contact lenses that popped up information tooltips. It even had a little X in the corner to close it out. This is a rendition of a Kua teen, the dominant species of the Borant system and principal owner of the Borat Corporation. Make sure you recognize these guys. They'll be on the test later. Thank you, Tutorial-san. Reminds me of The Sun Vanished. Reality. Yeah. Aren't they making a movie about that or something, Ezekiel? Was that last part supposed to be a joke? I focused on the X in the corner and mentally closed the box. Huh, I thought. I looked up at the carvings again and I felt something, almost like a slight haptic sting on my brain. The information box popped up again. I closed it. Weird. I could control the information with my mind. I could open information boxes on certain items by focusing on them. I could close the boxes by mentally clicking on the X in my mind. That means they're in your head. Maybe this isn't really happening. Maybe you're asleep. This is all some sort of high-tech simulation, like the Matrix movies. The pain in my warming up legs and feet reminded me that simulation or not, it didn't matter. Not when it could hurt. With my one free hand, I pushed at the door. It opened easily, inward, revealing a long hallway lit by multiple torches. The hallway was just as wide and tall as the door. More like a tunnel for a double-lane roadway than for someone to walk through. In the distance, I could see several branches leading off the main hall. A blinking light appeared near the first branch. Seemed to be a sign of some sort, but I couldn't read it from where. Oh, that's not the cat. I read Donut. That's not the cat. Oh, I cried as Donut chomped down on my hand. I thought, my bad. You guys got a free cat noise. I dropped the cat and she bounded forward into the hallway. She stopped about 10 spaces in, looking around with a confused, startled look on her face. I stepped towards the cat and the door slammed behind me. The light from the entrance room cut off and was replaced with a dusk-like dimness. Welcome, crawler. Welcome to the first floor. This was a new voice. It was male, sounding overly enthusiastic, almost like a game show host. It wasn't the same person or speaker from the original announcement. The words appeared floating before me and were instantly spoken in my mind. Unlike the tooltip-like box, I wasn't able to close it out. This was more like subtitles. Timer appeared in the upper right of my vision. It was at 4 days, 23 hours, and 48 minutes, and counting down. I again swiped at the characters. They didn't go away. I closed my eyes and the information disappeared. It was unsettling, and it gave me a slightly queasy feeling in my stomach. Donut remained in her spot several paces in front of me, but the chunky cat was swiping at the air in front of herself. She sees it too, I thought. Holy crap. Whatever this was, it wasn't happening to the cat just like it was to me. Donut, I said, calling to the cat. Stay with me. The cat, being a cat, ignored me. But as I looked at her, I felt that same almost imperceptible ting I felt when I looked at the door. I focused more tightly, and an information box popped up over the cat. Crawler number 4119. Princess Donut. Level 1. Race, cat. Class, not yet assigned. I took a step forward, painfully aware that I was wearing Crocs that didn't fit. More text assaulted me. You have been designated crawler number 4122. You have been assigned the crawler named Carl. You're assigned the race of human. You are currently level 1. You may choose a new race and class as soon as you descend to the 3rd floor. Your stat point has been assigned based on your current physical and mental profile. See the stat menu for more details. Menu? I wondered how to pull up a menu up. But before I could even try to figure it out, I was bowled over by a wall of text. Congratulations! You've earned your first achievement. Crazy cat lady. You have entered the world dungeon accompanied by a cat. Ah, isn't that sweet? Reward, you received a bronze pet box. New achievement, trailblazing crazy cat lady. You're the first crawler to have entered the world dungeon accompanied by a cat. You must really love that thing too. Too bad you're both probably gonna die a horrible death at any moment. Or maybe not. Look at the prize you just received. You received a legendary pet box. Yeah, it turned the whole... It basically what's going on is the whole world... Everything that was on the physical upper part, like plane of the world of Earth, you know, cities and buildings and stuff, got put down under. So imagine a skyscraper got pulled downward, right? It just went straight down into the earth, and then it got and all the buildings and everything in the world, cars and everything, got turned into the earth, into a dungeon. New achievement, early adopter. You are one of the first 5,000 crawlers to enter the new world dungeon. Sucker! Reward, you received a silver adventure box. New achievement, empty pockets. You didn't bring any supplies, none. You know you still gotta eat, right? You received a bronze adventure box. New achievements. Why aren't you wearing pants? You entered the dungeon wearing no pants. Dude, seriously? You received a gold apparel box. New achievement, unarmed combat. So you're just gonna waltz right into something called a world dungeon? You're not even going to bring a weapon? You're either braver than you look, or you're just an idiot. Good luck with that. You received a bronze weapon box. New achievement, loner. You entered a dungeon without any human companions. Didn't anyone teach you their safety in numbers? Reward? None. You're so dead. This could be worse. The whole game could have been wrote by Gearbox. You know, if it was written by Gearbox, it would be so much worse. So much worse. Everything would be much more dated, Steve. Much more dated. Good night, champion. If achievements popped up like that, I'd go after more achievements. I know, right? If they just made fun of me, I would too. I stared at those last words as they faded away. You are so dead. Hi, John. Donut was again swiping at the air. Menu, I said aloud. Nothing happened. Stats. Nothing. How the hell was I supposed to look at my information? It said I'd receive multiple what? Loot boxes? Not sure as hell what it sounded like, which meant I had some sort of inventory. Remember something from the initial announcement? Something about finding a tutorial guild? I looked up at the neon sign about 100 meters down the dark tunnel. Would that be it? I started to shuffle jog down the tunnel towards the blazing sign. I passed Donut, who sat up upon the ground, licking her paw, rubbing against her forehead. After a moment, The cat seemed to sigh and decided to follow. The neon sign read, "The Tutorial Guild," with an arrow pointing down a thin, dark alleyway. I like that imagery. It's a neon sign. I like to imagine it's like a pink. It's like a pink neon sign with an arrow in it, and it just says, "The Tutorial Guild." The arrow pointing down a thin, dark alleyway. I shuffled to a stop. The swish of my footfalls echoed in a large, empty tunnel. I peered into the darkness, it was pitch black in there. Behind me, Donut mewed with concern. Or meowed. I stepped into the alleyway. New achievement! Fall into an obvious trap! Reward. Well, if there's a heaven, and if you haven't been too much of an asshole, maybe they let you in. Because you're about to see your maker. 3 lights flipped up, blinding me. I covered my eyes and took a step back. Something mechanical hissed, and what sounded like a steam engine roared to life. I heard laughter, high-pitched and squealing. I turned and ran. Both of my pink Crocs went flying as I turned down the main tunnel, heading away from where I come down the stairs. Donut yowled and rushed after me. I hazarded a look over my shoulder and saw a contraption rocket out of the alleyway. Almost crash into the far wall and then slowly start to back up and turn facing me. Machine was the size of a tractor and ran on treads, like a tank. Thing was built out of mismatched rusting hunks of metal, looked as if it would fall apart at any moment. A spitting spike-covered wheel dominated the front of the death machine. On top of the tractor, 3 green-hued human monsters stood screaming and pointing in my direction. Each of these monsters looked to be about 4 feet tall and were dressed in leathery rags. One appeared to be wearing a kitchen pot on his head. He grunted and screamed as he worked the controls for the tall machine. Black smoke billowed from the several pipes. The spinning wheel whirled even faster as the machine righted itself and started barreling towards me. Tooltip popped up. Goblin Murder Dozer Contraption. A goblin-built, steam-powered machine designed to mow down and slaughter unsuspecting ginger crawlers. I hope you're up to date with your tetanus shots. 3 more tooltips popped over the 3 riders. 2 of them read, Goblin, level 2. Small, green, and smart. What goblins lack in physical strength, they make up in pure spunk. The 3rd goblin, the one with the pot on his head and driving the machine, had a different description. Goblin Engineer, level 3. Engineers, the incels of the goblin world. They have a hard time finding a date, which makes them extremely angry. If there are any females in your party, they will attack them first. I didn't have the time to think about the stupidity of the jokes or the fact I, for the first time, looked upon a group of real living monsters trying to kill me. I rushed down the hallway and reached another junction. I could go 3 ways, forward, right, or left. Right was another half-lit hallway, about half as wide as the last, but still plenty big enough for the goblins to follow. Left led into the tight, dark hall that be way too thin for the bulldozer. The obvious choice would be flee down the dark hallway. I paused. It was too obvious of a choice. I sensed another trap. Couldn't go straight because the junction was too far away and the machine would catch me for sure. I turned right. Donut followed, choosing to stay by my side, which was very un-Donut-like behavior. This hall was only as wide as a regular road, with a smooth 15-foot ceiling. Green, lichen-like gross glowed on the brick walls and ceiling, giving the tunnel an odd glow. Behind me, a goblin squealed as they struggled to maneuver the murder dozer. The thing was had a wide turning radius, and it would take them at least a minute to pursue. Ahead, another group of junctions appeared, but just before the intersection, I spied a single plain wood door built into the wall. A simple sign attached to the wall above the door. That was a loud crackle of fire. It's going crazy in there. I gotta turn down the fireplace. The words were painted the same color as the dark red bricks of the wall. I could barely read it. It read, Tutorials Guild. The words were in the same odd language. Hi, Tiberian! The moment I read the sign, a glowing green box appeared highlighting the name. New achievement. You discovered and read an official dungeon sign. Wow. You can read. Whoopee! Reward. The official dungeon signage will now be highlighted and easier to spot. Nearby guilds will appear on your mini-map. A mini-map? I really need to figure this out. Behind me, the murder dozer had gotten stuck on the corner, and one of the level 2 goblins was shouting and beating on the pot helmet of the engineer with what looked like a stick. Third looked at me and shook his fist. Would they follow me into the guild? I don't know. I grasped the brass door handle and tried to turn it. It didn't open. Locked. What the hell? I said. I banged on the wooden door. Hey, I called. Is anybody in there? The two level 2 goblins seemed to give up on waiting for the bulldozer to negotiate the right turn. Or negotiate to the tight turn. And they hopped off and started jogging towards me. I keep losing my spot. They were unarmored, but both wielded what appeared to be wooden sticks with a pineapple on the end of it. They catch up in a minute. Next to me, Donut started to howl and hiss. From behind the door, I heard the rattling of chains and turning locks. The door cracked, only pulling open part way. A single chain remained, keeping the door from opening further. A bearded rat-like creature appeared in the doorway. I could barely make out his features, but he was about a head shorter than me. So taller than the goblins, but not by much. Not the pineapple apple pen. What do you want? The voice said. You mobs ain't allowed in here. You know that. Hey, this is the tutorial guild, right? The thing said I was supposed to go in here? The eye widened as it looked at me. You're a crawler. Wait. The rat creature stepped back as it took a better look at me. I was immediately reminded of Master Splinter, the rat sensei from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. You are! By his left tit. We opened up and it didn't even notice. I must have slept through the announcement. Nobody tells old Mordecai anything. They used to be a newsletter. It was delivered every few cycles. Reliable as could be. But then it just stopped. Budget cuts, I guess. They're always cutting corners. I thought we weren't opening for another 2 years. Hey, let me in! I interrupted. I turned to face the two goblins who jogged to a stop. One moved to my left, the other moved to cut off my retreat. Open the damn door! I cried. One of the goblins said something to the rat man behind the door, whose name appeared to be Mordecai. I couldn't understand the goblin language. It was grunts and squeaks. Mordecai responded in the goblin language. They both laughed. Sorry, crawler. You took too long. Mordecai said through the chain door. I can't open up. There's mobs directly outside. Rules are rules. I took too long? I said. I moved to a fighting stance. One of the goblins fainted, swinging at me with his club. The pineapple at the end of his club fell off when he swung it, and it hit the ground with a splat. The goblin cursed and kicked it away. I took a step back. Donut stood between my legs, hissing and spitting. At least tell me how to open these damn loot boxes! Mordecai was silent for a moment, as he was contemplating on whether or not to tell me. It's in the award and boxes tab on your inventories menu, the rat said. We can't access it yet, kid. Well, how do I get access to my inventory menu then? The second goblin, the one who still had a pineapple on the end of his stick, swung at me, missing by a wide margin. Up close, the goblins looked much like they did in movies and video games. Short, green, mostly bald with pointed ears, angular faces, and sharp teeth. I briefly wondered on that. It seemed the aliens or whatever, knew a whole lot about Earth mythology and lore. Far behind him, the murder dozer was finally back up properly and had straightened out. It rumbled down the hallway towards us. Yeah, you gotta complete the tutorial. The pineapple goblin swung at me again. I waited until the club passed the apex of its arc and stepped back. I hit the goblin square in the nose with a jab and then a left hook to its right temple. It crumbled to the ground in a heap. A bar appeared over the creature's head the moment I hit it. A health bar, I realized. It hadn't appeared until it took damage. The bar went down more than halfway, turning green to red. The goblin had more than half of its life drained. I'd clock it pretty good, but not that good. It was like I just punched a 10-year-old. The second goblin looked at his friend, open mouth, then turned and ran back towards the dozer. My fist ached. I hadn't been in an actual physical fight in years. Most of my time as a Coast Guardsman was aboard a cutter as an MK, a technician. I was never involved I keep losing my spot. I was never involved face to face with any sort of real law enforcement. That said, most people I encountered could never be in the service. That said, most people I encountered who'd never been in the service didn't realize that we trained as much as we did. People thought of us as glorified lifeguards, then had no idea how much we trained in hand-to-hand combat. How the hell do I do that if you don't open the door? I yelled as I kicked the goblin in the ribs. I felt a satisfying crunch. Can't you just let me have access now? It doesn't work that way, kid, Mordecai said. We can't just have untrained crawlers wandering around the dungeon, you know. Besides, you can't open the boxes unless you're in a safe zone. And unless you're a complete idiot, you can probably guess you're not in a safe zone right now. The goblin's health bar had moved deeper into the red, but he wasn't dead yet. A distant part of me seemed horrified that I was planning on killing this thing. Despite his weapon, he was incredibly easy to hurt. But one glance up the bulldozer, which had stopped to pick up the second goblin, relieved me of any potential regret. I put my hands on either side of the unconscious goblin and I smashed down on the stones. I smashed down again and again until the health bar completely drained away. Hey, Mordecai yelled. Hey, stop! Whose side are you on anyway? I asked, whirling on the creature. But then I realized the rat wasn't talking to me. You can't come in here, he said. His back now turned. Donut. He was talking about the goddamn cat. She had decided she'd had enough of this hallway and wandered into the guild through the cracked door. A whole wall of new achievement notifications appeared along with a couple other new notifications. But instead of auto-playing like they did before, they appeared as little messages in the upper left of my screen. I sensed I could mentally click on them, but not for now. The AI or whatever the hell was running this circus seemed to know that right now was not the opportune time to cover half of my line of sight with game bullshit. Not with the real danger barreling towards me. Open the fucking door, I cried. Get your creature, Mordecai said, turning towards me, a strange hint of panic in the rat's voice. I'll get in trouble if they find out I let a crawler sneak in against the rules. Open the door, I repeated. Look, it's clear, but it won't be in 5 seconds. Let me in. The door slammed. The last chain rustled, and then it opened all the way. I rushed inside just as the murder dozer barreled by, rolling directly over the bloody corpse of their friend. The brakes screamed, but the dozer continued its forward momentum, sliding on the body as it smeared down the hallway. The two goblins turned and met my eyes as I flipped them both off. They squealed in rage as I slammed the door. Let me in! Let me in! Bye, Tiberian. My goodness. Things escalating really fast. Alright, let me get a drink of water. The moment the doors closed, a notification appeared. Tutorial Guild Hall. This is a safe zone. Warning. Level timers are still active. I shouldn't have let you in, Mordecai said, swinging his furry hands. I examined the rat creature. He wore a black vest and blue pants. He had a pair of well-worn sandals on his feet. An info box popped up. Mordecai, rat hooligan, level 50. Guild master of this guild hall. This is a non-combat NPC. Hooligans are the smartest, fastest, and ugliest of the ratkin race. While not a roided out as a rat brute, or as I'm a fireball your ass as a rat shaman. Rat hooligans offer the best of both worlds. They are physically strong and they have a decent grasp on magic. I closed up the box. Through the door, I could still hear the screeching of a goblin machinery just outside. I mentally clicked on the first of several information boxes cluttering my vision. Error. You may not access this until you complete the tutorial. All the boxes disappeared, swooping away into a single folder item that started to blink. I stood in a wide room about the size of a classroom. A fireplace and bed dominated one side of the room. Several shelves dotted the walls on the left half of the room, filled with random objects and a few framed photographs of bird-like creatures. The other half of the room was nothing but a well-worn and oval-shaped gray carpet and an empty desk. Half-dozen classroom-style chairs lay scattered about. I turned back to the door. Is this the only way out of here? What? Mordecai said. The rat wasn't paying attention to me. He was focused on the cat. Yo, I said. Morty, is this the only exit? It's Mordecai, kid. And yeah, of course. Are those green assholes going to still be waiting for me when I get out of here? Donut jumped up on a high shelf and knocked a vase over. Ash spilled out. Mom! Mordecai cried, running to the shelf, shooing the cat away. He reached up for the shelf, but he couldn't reach it. Damn this body. He turned back to me. Can you just grab that thing for me? Get him out of here! Mordecai sneezed. Think I might be allergic. I didn't think he was sneezing because of the cat, but because of the gray cloud of dust that had formed around the pile of ash. Holy shit, man. I said, be careful. I warned myself. He doesn't seem too tough, but he's level 50. That's gotta mean he's a powerful bastard. Can you help me? Are they going to wait for me or not? Yeah, no, probably. Well, it's complicated. One might wait, but one will definitely go back to their clan and call the others. You smash that poor goblin's head right in. Give them an hour and the whole family will be out here. Across the room, Donut discovered the fireplace, which crackled merrily. The cat sat in front of it, lifted her leg, and started licking herself. Shit. Okay, I said. Don't you dare lock this door. I grasped the handle and went back outside. I barely had time to hear the cat say, or hear the rat say, "You're tracking my mother's ashes all over," before I slammed the door. The goblin tractor had overshot the doorway by about 10 meters and was in the middle of a wide turn, trying to come back the way it came. The engineer had driven the tractor right into the wall. The spinning wheel sparked as the spikes shredded against the stone. The dead goblin remained smeared over the tiles. The corpse looked more like a party-sized sausage and a green pepper pizza than that had been run over a few times. Both of the remaining goblins had their backs turned to me. I sprinted towards the vehicle. The murder dozer had a small ladder near the back. It looked as if it was made of bones tied to rope. One of the goblins would turn at any moment. I had to get them now. If one of them got away and warned the others of its clan, or whatever, I'd be screwed. I needed this tutorial guild, so I only had one choice. The jagged bones of the ladder ripped into my bare feet as I pulled myself up. I stifled a cry. I jumped onto the top of the metallic whirling contraption. The murder dozer screamed so loudly that neither had noticed me. The whole top of the machine was nothing but fur-lined recessed hole with benches running the length. Despite the fur, the ground was hot on my feet, almost burning. It smelled of scorched tar and animal musk. The machine could probably carry about 15 or so goblins, not including the driver, who had a seat up front. A dozen levers and spigots and vibrating handles extended from the floor in the cockpit area. The controls all vibrated and bounced up and down. The pan-wearing goblin sat in the seat, screaming and grunting something as he twisted and turned and pulled on levers. Smoke billowed and steam hissed from multiple pipes. The whole machine vibrated like a boiler about to blow. The smooth, rocky ceiling of this tunnel was much lower than the long, main hallway leading off the stairs. When it stood to my full height, I could reach up and touch it. Barely. It still amazed me, the idea of an entire world made up of these hallways and paths. I rushed forward and grasped onto the regular goblin, who still clenched his pineapple-less stick in his hand. The creature barely weighed anything, surprising me. I picked him up as he grunted in surprise. He unsuccessfully attempted to hit me with his stick. With all my strength, I threw the goblin forward. He rocketed out of the passenger area of the dozer. The screaming monster sailed directly over the head of the engineer, who was only now starting to react. The flying goblin crashed onto the tunnel wall, then bounced back, landing directly onto the spinning front blades. A spray of red showered over the both of us. A spray of red showered over the both of us. So that goblin got eviscerated. The final goblin snarled, and quick as a whip pulled a small curved blade from a sheath on his side. He jumped from his chair and rushed at me. Oh fuck. The monster moved much more quickly than I anticipated, surprising me. I had to remember this was a different class than the last two, and he was a level higher. 2 levels higher than myself. This was a dumb idea. What was it that B always said? You just jump headlong into things without thinking it through? I kicked at the goblin with my bare foot. With nobody at the controls, the tractor continued to whine and shred at the dungeon walls. The vibrations got worse by the moment. Soon the whole thing was bucking like a washing machine with a rocket inside of it. The goblin was yelling something at me in a guttural language. You're in my world now, I yelled back at him. You need to speak my language, you weird green piece of shit. To my surprise, the goblin grinned. I could tell he understood me. The little monster switched the knife back and forth between hands. You're not speaking your language, he said. You're speaking syndicate standards, you idiot slave. They programmed it into your brain. Do you really think you'll survive past? The goblin never finished the sentence. As he was distracted with his own soliloquy, I leaped forward, snatched the pot off his head, and clobbered him with it. Sharp little teeth went flying. The goblin stumbled. I smacked him again. He careened off the side of the tractor. His health bar appeared after I'd smacked him the first time, but it was still well in the green. He splatted to the ground, groaning. His knife went flying. I peered over the edge. The goblin lay on his back. The tractor continued to spin and buck, but it was edging in the opposite direction. The goblin's health was still 3/4 full, but he'd had the wind knocked out of him. The goblin started to sit up, and I threw the pot at him. To my utter astonishment, I clobbered him right in the forehead. He cried out, his hands reaching to grasp the new wound. I gauged the distance. It wasn't very far, like maybe 7 to 8 feet. I'd done that plenty of times as a kid. What the hell? I jumped off the murder dozer, aiming both feet towards the chest of the and stomach of the still recovering goblin. Not sure if I mentioned this earlier, but this is important information right here. I stand 6'3" tall. I weigh about 230 pounds. While I wasn't in nearly as good a shape as I was when I was on active duty, I'd be hitting the gym 3 times a week for the year, building my muscle mass. I always been blessed with one of those bodies that naturally held muscle well. My dad was a linebacker. Hell, even my mom was 5'10", and her dad played center for the Oregon State before becoming a prison guard. Yeah, it's Blood Bowl. So what I'm getting at is that I'm a large dude. I have a lot of bulk. The goblin was small, and he did not have hardly any mass at all. The effect of me jumping onto him from high above was like someone smashing a fat jelly donut with a sledgehammer. This dude didn't have a chance. Goo sputtered out of the goblin from every orifice. The murder dozer started to whine even louder. I looked down at what I'd done, and I suddenly felt sick to my stomach. More notifications appeared on my screen. A tooltip popped up, appearing in my peripheral vision. I turned to look. Goblin murder dozer. Boiler breach imminent. A countdown timer appeared below the text. It was at a 12-second and counting down. Son of a bitch, it's gonna blow! I turned back towards the room, a mere 30 meters down the hall. Was that too close? I didn't have time to think about it. I ran, slipping and sliding on the tiles as I booked it back to the room. I ripped open the door and jumped inside. I slammed the door and braced for impact. Bam! The world shook. The door bucked, throwing me forward onto the floor of the guild hall. My ears rang, but the door held. I didn't seem to be otherwise injured. Donut was in the corner of the room, poofed out and hissing. What in the bloody hell did you do, kid? Mordecai asked, looking over me at the door. That gate is capable of holding back a kinetic striker from a Star Destroyer. I've never seen anything shake it that much. Huh, I said, sitting up, my ears continuing to ring. That goblin bulldozer thing got stuck against the wall and then it blew up. Mordecai nodded slowly. A boiler breach then. The local shaman probably enhanced it in case it ever exploded. It would have focused the energy from a blast of the closest non-goblin. You're lucky you were behind the door. A focus explosion, even a small one, has a lot more energy than you might think. My nose is stuffy. Having decided the commotion was over, Donut left the corner and returned to her spot in front of the fire. Her normally poofy exterior remained extra poofed out, and her tail wisped up and down. I could tell the cat was pissed off. Your creature crapped in my mother's ashes, Mordecai said, shaking his head. This is so not worth it. Not worth it at all. So, Mr. Training Guild, I said, leaning against the wall. My feet ached, my heart continued to thrash in my chest. I was covered in goblin blood. It felt if I had raw hamburger meat stuck between my toes. I shuddered. I need to get shoes and pants. What the hell is going on? What's with the dungeon? Is everyone really dead? How do I work this shit? A million other questions popped in my head. I knew he'd probably snap and break me in half, but I had an overwhelming urge to grab the rat man by his stupid vest and shake him until all answers tumbled out of him. Also, who the hell are you? Why are you here? What's really... Mordecai held up his hand. Okay, slow down, kid. I know you're confused. I've been in your position. I will be explained. That's why I'm here. But before I start, I need to explain something to you, too. The rat looked over at the cat, who glared back at him. My name is Mordecai. I am what's called a non-combat NPC. I am like you. I'm a person whose world was displaced. This was many, many solars ago. I was a dungeon crawler just like you. I made it all the way down to floor 11, and I knew I would never make it any further than that. Once you descend to floor 10, you're given several options to exit the dungeon. The deeper you go, the better those options are. He walked over to the shelf with the upset vase, and he picked up a framed photo of one of the bird creatures. He handed it to me. It looked remarkably like a normal frame photo, but the material was peculiar, and the photo was cut oddly, oval-shaped with the corners looped off. That's what I really looked like. This is a photo of my brother. I was born a skyfowl. But I became a changeling when I reached floor 3 of the dungeon. I switched form every time my guild hall is moved. What's the lowest level again? Like, what do you mean? Like, the last level? It's 18. There's 18 levels to the dungeon. Mordecai continued. When a dungeon first opens, I worked in a guild such as this. Later on, after the 3rd floor collapses, my room here is transported to a much deeper level. And my form has changed again. I spend most of my time working a magic guild, which is a place one can go to pick spells and train if they're chosen the magic-based path. Though over the years, I've only had a handful of people actually make it that far. Most crawlers don't make it past the 10th floor. So a changeling is a shapeshifter. I examined the picture. I couldn't tell if it was a photograph or a painting or something else. The eyes of the image seemed to bore into me. It was a golden eagle-like creature. Wings, angel-like, were folded on its back. Yes, Mordecai said. He sighed. They recreated my home for me, including all of my possessions when I decided to become a guild master. I had but a few moments to grab anything I wanted before they evaporated it all. Now every time I move to a new world, they change my shape. It's something different every time. But it's always a type of mob from the current floor of the dungeon. I don't know why. I don't believe any of this, I said. So you're aliens? You're all from different worlds. Then how does a game or whatever know how we talk? Some of those last notifications mentioned Jean-Claude Van Damme and incels and steroids. Mordecai nodded. You're getting ahead of yourself. Each dungeon is specifically built for the world it inhabits. And they spend a lot of time. A lot of time. Making sure the locals understand the game and the notifications. They go for authenticity. I'm not really supposed to tell you any of this stuff, but I figured if you're going to be stumbling around out here, you need to know what's happening. I still don't know what's happening, I said, frustration raising further. Mordecai shook his head. You humans are the same. This is the 7th or 8th human-stated world, and it's always the same. You always want to know why. Why can't you just accept your circumstances and move on? My people, the Skyfowls, we generally last much longer than you humans. You know why? Because we roll with it. I didn't say anything for several moments. There was a lot to parse there. Human-seated world? Did that mean the conspiracy spouting assholes on TV with crazy hair was correct? That humans weren't unique? But a crop left to grow unattended until this? Mordecai saw my look of bewilderment and sighed. Okay. I'll give you the quick version, he said. He pulled a seat and sat down. He gestured to another chair situated in the center of the round carpet. You might as well get comfortable. Oh, you guys don't get to see because I'm not doing I'm reading this off of a Kindle, right? So you guys can't see it, but the new chapter has a little drawing of Mordecai, and he's a little rat. Not saying aliens, but aliens. Yeah, no pictures for you. Maybe I can find them and post them. Have a good night, Nightmare. All right, another drink as another chapter is finished. You can't help but think it's an episode of Rat. Just because the rat is named Mordecai? I mean, he was originally a bird, but he wasn't a blue bird. He was like an eagle bird. The only thing in common is that his name's Mordecai, and at one point he was a bird. That's it. There are 6 basic starter species the Syndicate uses to seed worlds. Humans are one of them. They find a compatible world, sprinkle the humans on there, wait a couple thousand years, and then reveal themselves to the largest settlement. They usually do this as soon as civilization starts to take hold, but long before any sort of industrial revolution. As long as there's a working government, this counts as first contact. In a legal sense, I mean, which gives them leave to wait a couple thousand additional years, come back, and strip the planet dry. How? I said. It all happened in a second. Mordecai shrugged. Technology beyond your understanding seems like magic. So as far as you're concerned in this place, it is magic. It's like the Wizard of Oz movie, but you'll never get to peek behind the curtain. You've seen Wizard of Oz? Guild masters prepare for years for each new dungeon. Kid, I have been preparing for this longer than you've been alive. The advanced team arrived in your 1930s, I believe. Whenever that book came out, The Hobbit, I left that system and entered the prep phase in your year 1964. I know this world and your customs just as well as you do. I even once got to shapeshift into a human and go out into the world. I went to a Blockbuster Video and stole a bunch of James Bond's tapes. I was so happy once you guys started digitalizing everything. How long have you been a guildmaster? Mordecai shook his head. You don't even want to know. So anyway, your planet defaulted on claiming Earth as a sovereign entity. You had 50 local years since first contact, and first contact was several thousand years ago, whenever those pyramid things were built. The Borant Corporation has a huge backlog of worlds to mine. Your time is now. My head swam. So, they're taking all of our minerals. Mordecai nodded. Sort of. Borant deals in rare elements. And the like. What they end up mining will fit on a single transport. I don't know too much about the part of this process. The elements involved are unimportant. It's a big universe out there, and there are plenty of places to mine. That's not why they're really here. While Borant does make a profit in the mining, the real money is the game. The dungeon. How? Are you kidding me? The Syndicate consists of over 3 billion independent star systems. Every season, a new dungeon crawler world debuts across the net. Quintillions of citizens of the Syndicate become obsessed with the crawl. Wait, so this is like a TV show? Like Survivor? Oh, I love that show! And as far as you're concerned, yes, it's a show like Survivor. But it's more like a Running Man situation than a Survivor one. I lean back in my chair. I'm on an alien television show. Holy shit. Bee had always wanted to be on television. She tried out for countless reality shows. Did my fireplace sound ran out? Hold on, I gotta restart it. Bee had always wanted to be on television. She tried out for countless reality shows. Me? I'd rather have a hot poker struck through my eye. I briefly wondered where she was, and if she was alive. Probably not, I decided. It'd been 5 a.m. in the Bahamas when it had happened, which meant she'd probably been asleep in her hotel. Probably in bed with that asshole. And if by some miracle she had survived, there's no way she'd gone into one of those tunnels. So are there people watching right now? I asked, looking around. Mordecai put his hands together. I will get to that in a moment. It doesn't look like anyone else is coming to join us anytime soon, so let's get the tutorial started. Mordecai's right hand glowed for a moment, and I felt that haptic buzz in my brain. Across the room, Donut hissed and batted at the air. You have been granted access to the crawler menu. My world blinked, and several items appeared in my vision. A long green bar, a health bar, I realized, appeared at the top right. It pushed the timer down a notch. That blinking folder remained in my top left. A small minimap appeared in the bottom right. You just received a notification, Mordecai said. That's called a crawler notification. There are a few different kinds, but that type will only be seen by you. There's also system messages, which everyone else sees no matter what floor they're on. Those may be in different voices. There's also floor-specific notifications, etc., etc. I have a blinking box in my top left, I said. Those are game and status change notifications. Probably from your fight outside a few minutes back, Mordecai said. Don't click that. Don't click it yet. We'll get there. First, I want you to focus on the map on the bottom right. Look right at it. Make sure you're thinking about looking at it. I did as he said, and the map got bigger, increasing to fill my entire vision. It was a simple blue and gray map showing the hallways and a few random doorways. Most of the area around us wasn't filled in. It only showed the area we'd walked in, pushing about 20 meters in every direction. A green dot sat in the middle, right in the guild. 2 additional dots appeared, a blue one and a white one. I focused on the blue dot, and a note appeared. Crawler Princess Donut. The white dot read, Guildmaster Mordecai. The whole room glowed yellow, and when I focused on it, it read, Tutorial Guild. A trio of X's appeared outside its hallway, and I mentally clicked on it. Corpse. Level 2 Goblin. I mentally clicked away. The whole map shrank back to normal. Good, Mordecai said. So you're in the green dot. The blue dot will be other crawlers. White dots will be NPCs, such as myself. And mobs will be red. There are a few other kinds, but you'll figure those out along the way. By the way, no other crawlers or mobs can see your menus. But while you're inside the guild, I can see what's on your screen. You are already adept at closing and opening, which is good. Now try focusing on the map again. With your mind, pinch it smaller, and then move it across the screen. That way, you can customize your HUD. It went on like this for a while, him explaining how to open and close menus within my display. I could just think about it, and the whole menu system would pop up, give me access to several folders. Once I got used to the weirdness of it and being in my head, the system was quite intuitive. The first menu was player stats, like I mentioned earlier. I played a handful of computer and tabletop RPGs over the years, so the section wasn't too surprising. My stats were Strength, 6, Intelligence, 3, Constitution, 5, Dexterity, 5, Charisma, 4. He's not very smart, apparently. According to Mordecai, I couldn't directly adjust these stats. Not yet. I received 3 stat points every time I level up, but I couldn't distribute them until I picked a race and class. And I couldn't do that until I reached the 3rd floor. For now, these numbers went up and down on their own based on my inherent real-life physical and mental attributes. He also added the typical adult human average between 3 and 5 for each of these first 5 stats. So my 6 in strength was good. Yeah, no wisdom. I could find items and potions that would either temporarily or permanently adjust these numbers, but for now, there wasn't much I could do about them. Why do we have to wait until we go to the 3rd floor before I can pick a class? He shrugged. It takes a lot of energy to run this whole operation. I think we figured if you manage to make it to the 3rd floor, you're worth the investment to transfigure. Class is easy, but changing your race takes some doing. You're being fundamentally changed at the cellular level. That's a lot of effort for someone who's just been... Whoa. Notifications. No. Notifications. Stop. I just want to read the book. Where am I? Alright, repeat. That's a lot of effort for someone who's just going to be eaten by a fly trap on the 1st floor. I hadn't thought about it until that moment. I can change into a different type of creature. If this was a computer game, I'd do it in a second. I never played humans in games if I could help it, but permanently changing myself into something different, the thought made me ill. It wasn't something I'd have to think about and deal with when I got there. It was something I had to think about and deal with when I got there. I grumbled a bit about that 3 in intelligence. Yeah, I never did too great in math, but I never considered myself a slobbering idiot either. I could fix most anything electrical after studying it a bit. My friend Billy Maloney, now that guy was an idiot. Just last week, he'd come out of a bar and he'd peed right on a cop's bicycle while the cop was giving someone else a ticket for drunk and disorderly. That guy deserves an intelligence of 3. Maybe 2. Billy is dead. He was still in jail. He had a warrant for failure to appear, so they'd taken him in. He's dead like everyone else in the world. I pushed it away. After I complained about my intelligence score to Mordecai, Using the Billy example, he said, Intelligence told you that bike belonged to a police officer. Wisdom told you not to urinate upon it. We all have a wisdom stat, but it doesn't appear on that list. It used to, but they discovered changing everyone's wisdom greatly changed their personality. So it was no longer adjustable. I do not know what this Billy's intelligence is, but I guarantee his wisdom is not a 5. Worry not about intelligence of the 3, unless you're seeking a magical base class. Your best bet is something that focuses on strength. That mollified me, while Mordecai moved me to the next menu. This screen is the single most important menu in the entire game. Your life depends on these numbers. It's called ratings. It's called ratings. I clicked on it and the list took me aback. Ratings. Views 0. Followers 0. Favorites 0. Patrons 0. Dude's a live streamer. He needs mods. Apparently, the first level dungeon was off limits to live viewers, so these stats wouldn't move until I descended to the 2nd floor. As of right now, no viewers had access to anything that was going on. However, Borant would release and edit a highlights reel over the next few days or so. If I managed to get shown during the premiere of the show or any of the regular updated episodes, it would be like hitting the lottery. Feature crawlers always gain billions of views and millions of followers right out the gate. Given the sheer number of people in the world, I seriously doubted I was going to be featured. So, if I want to survive, I needed to have what Mordecai called Schutzpah and the it factor. Schutzpah, I think it is. You need to stand out. You can't just kill that shambling acid impaler and walk away. You need to kill it with style, with excitement. Maybe you could come up with a catchphrase. During my crawl, I managed to accumulate almost 30 million followers and 4 patrons. That's the only way I survived. Excuse me. A shambling what? A shambling acid impaler. The 2nd floor will be lousy with them. They trance around about on 4 legs and green, hairy, spit darts at you would melt your skin off. Awful creatures. Jesus Christ, I said. I still felt as if this was all a dream. Mordecai snapped. Hey, kid, pay attention. The monsters are important. Well, they are. But this part especially is more important. Okay, I said, wavering him to go along. Keep going. He went on to explain how viewership worked. Once I hit the 2nd floor, watchers from across the universe had the ability to tune into any crawler they wished. Borant would continue to air highlights. So the longer I survived, the better my chances at getting featured. Anytime someone watched me for just about 8 seconds or so, it counted as a view. This stat didn't help or hurt me, but it was a good indicator of how interesting I was. You might not like it, Mordecai said, but pay careful attention when I tell you this. Obtaining patrons is crucial to your survival. There is plenty of great loot in the dungeon that'll help you survive, but the best loot comes from benefactors. Patrons. Viewers lead to followers. If you're being followed, it means the viewer has bookmarked your crawler ID. They can look in on you whenever they want. Following leads to favorites. If you're favorited, that's a good thing. It means the viewers are getting live updates on your stats and conditions. They get notifications if you're fighting. If someone has favorited you, they really want to know what you're doing. Viewers only get a certain number of favorites, so consider it an honor. But, Mordecai continued, ultimately, it's all about the patrons. Lots of favorites will always lead to patrons. Patrons are usually organizations, not individuals. They'll see someone has a lot of favorites, and they'll sponsor you. It's an advertisement thing. They'll sponsor you by purchasing boxes for you. There are dozens of types of boxes, and each type of box has 6 quality tiers. Bronze, then silver, then gold. Platinum, legendary, then celestial. Yeah, I said drearily. You wouldn't let me open the boxes yet. Can I do it now? Hold up, kid, Mordecai said. We have a process here. We'll get there in a minute. He continued. Most patrons can only afford, or are willing to, send you silver or gold boxes. Bronze's boxes tend to be crap, but anything higher usually has some good stuff in it. Some of the richer patrons may even send you platinum boxes, though the cost of them has gone to the astronomical. That said, patrons are the only ones who can send what we call benefactor boxes. Those contain the rarest items, so even a bronze benefactor boxes is better than a plain gold adventurer box. A benefactor box may contain items from the patron's home world. You will never find a pulse rifle or automatic power armor in any sort of box in the world dungeon, but it's possible to get it from a patron. Does that make sense? None of this shit makes sense, I said. But yes, I understand what you're saying. I'm on an intergalactic game show, and I have to be obnoxious show offer in order to get eyes on me. And once I do have eyes on me, I might get loot boxes with toilet paper in it. Does that about sum it up? Mordecai clapped his right hands. Yes, but toilet paper is complimentary. Restrooms are liberally populated throughout the map. It's the only place the viewer cameras don't follow you. Are you serious? Mordecai nodded. Oh, I'm serious. The last dungeon Barrett managed didn't have rest areas. Crawlers were pissing and crapping all over themselves. Crawlers lose viewers when they're shitting in the middle of a hallway. Gross. And what does Boren get out of all of this? Mordecai's demeanor changed. It was a subtle thing, but he sniffed slightly. His voice took an oddly formal tone. In addition to the mining income we already discussed, the Boren Corporation receives advertising dollars, a stipend from the syndicate government, and a commission on every credit spent on patrons. He waited a long moment, before adding, also, it would be noted that every time a crawler mentions the name of either the interstellar government or the organization sponsoring the current crawler, the system AI will record the interaction for review. If it is found the crawler is disparaging either of the two entities, especially while on camera, with live viewers, the crawler experience may be accelerated. I nodded. Got it. I had no doubt about what accelerated meant. Nothing good. Hi, Leon. This dude's trying to promote you as a pro wrestler sports entertainer for the sake of toilet paper? Yes. Oh, absolutely. But you get it as a complimentary, don't worry. Comes next to you like your gecko on a stick or whatever that we got in Fallout. We spent the next several minutes going over a few other menu items. I had a health bar like in other games. Overall, health was still green. But in the menu, it was more expensive pie chart. Extensive. It indicated any active conditions and debuffs, plus I could drill down the specific areas. Healing was sped up in the dungeon. Had recently been cured of several issues I didn't even know I had, like abrasions at the bottom of my feet and on my hands, frostbite, and the start of infection from when the donut had bit me. Health ticked up on its own slowly based on my constitution level. Also, if I went down a set of stairs to the next floor, my health points would instantly fill all the way up on their own. Another way to heal myself was via spells, potions, and scrolls. There was no respawning. Dead was dead. After that was my skills menu, which this section just went on and on and on. Seemed to be an infinite number of pages. If I didn't have the skill, I couldn't read what it said. It was still listed there, but the words were blurred out. Literally hundreds of pages would scroll by before I saw anything. Mordecai had me change the view to skills I did have, and the list was just as long. I had things like breathing 3, walking 4, operating a Sony brand RMV-LZ620 Universal Remote Control 1. The list just never ended. He had me uncheck a box, and most of those skills disappeared. Was still several pages long. Then another check, and anything with a skill of 1 or 2 disappeared. Was things like unarmed combat 3, base electrical pair 6, swimming 4. Nothing was over 5 other than electrical repair. Most everything was a 3. This is a good start, Mordecai said. I'm impressed, kid. You're proficient with several weapons, all firearms. But since you didn't bring any, you'll want to train with some of the dungeon-based weapons. We'll see if you have anything good in any of the boxes you get. And you'll train me how to use them? No, Mordecai said. Not my job. There are guild halls scattered around that'll help you level up your skills. Especially magic ones. But the best ways is always the practice. Is there a store? I asked. The eyes thing said something about a store. That's when you reach the 3rd floor, Mordecai said. There's a structure to the 3rd floor, and random stores will start populating the map after that. Oh. You can also trade with other crawlers or friendly mobs, if you can find any. Mobs on the 2nd floor will start dropping gold. Next was the magic menu, which was complicated as shit. It was one of the most surreal parts of the adventure so far. I was given a simple healing spell and a pool of mana points, which appeared in the top right underneath the health bar. Because my intelligence was only 3, I only had 3 magic points. The healing spell costs 2. Magic points naturally filled about 1 every hour. I had a hot list of 10 spaces along the bottom of the screen. And there I could add potions or spells or other special items. Mordecai had me place the healing spell in spot number 1. I could mentally click it to cast it. The spell was only a level 1 basic healing spell and would heal about 20% of my health. He made me try it, even though my health was already at the top. I cast the spell and my whole body glowed red. My magic bar went down down by 2/3, and nothing else happened. Hi, Hatred. If you were injured or sick, you'd feel much better after that, Mordecai said. A voice boomed, interrupting the tutorial. This was yet another speaker. Not the game show host that usually spoke, but a distinctly female voice. She spoke almost casually, like a manager addressing a store filled with employees just before they opened for business. Hello, crawlers! The dungeon is now sealed. We have a diverse group joining us this season, and we are very happy to have you here. We have just under 13 million human crawlers make it through the gate and into the dungeon. We're already down to under 10 million. A quick note, the entrances of the 2nd floor will not open until the introductory episode of Dungeon Crawler World Tunnels, which will be in approximately 30 of your hours. Once that happens, the entrances to the 2nd level will populate. There will be no lag time for the appearance of additional levels. On behalf of the Borans Corporation, I wanted to thank you for volunteering, and I wish you all good luck and a happy crawl. 10 million people. It was more than I expected, but still 3 million people dead in a matter of minutes. The number was so huge, it lost meaning. The announcement made me think of the way the dungeon was set up. The 5-day countdown timer continued to tick away. So we get 5 days before they destroy each floor? Mordecai shook his head. No. It's usually more each floor down. Later on, it'll depend on a lot of factors, such as ratings, how many crawlers are left, etc. But they usually add about 5 days each time. So you'll probably have 10 days for the 2nd floor and then 15 for the 3rd. The countdown doesn't start until the previous floor collapses. How hard is it to find these staircases? It can be tricky. It's not too difficult for the first few levels, but you'll want to focus on finding items and skills that'll help you find the next entrance down. This first floor is huge. As you can imagine, it's almost the size of the surface of your planet. They won't tell you this, but it's not all connected. It's not like you can wander around a room and wander around and run into someone from China. That'll change once you hit the 3rd floor. To see if you can survive that long. Starting on the 4th floor, each level will have a random thing and will encompass significantly less area. Entrances will stop populating in random places. They'll be guarded. I had barely made it to floor 11, and when I saw what guarded the entrance to 12, I knew it wouldn't be worth it. What was it? He shook his head. It doesn't matter. It'll be different here. It's different every time. From there, we resumed the tutorial. We went over the party menu. If I had been accompanied by a group of people, we could have managed our party in the menus. Party members shared experience and were able to access a group chat feature. Anyone who entered the dungeon at the same time as anyone who automatically grouped together, and as a result, I had a party of 2. Me and Donut. The cat continued to lounge in front of the fire. It appeared she'd fallen asleep. So my cat, I said. The system had given her a crawler name and a designator. Does that mean she's getting all these special achievements and loot boxes too? Yes, any biological creature above a certain weight who enters the dungeon is assigned a crawler ID. But one needs at least an intelligence of 2 to qualify for training. If you can't do training, your inventory doesn't get turned on, which allows you to access your boxes. Otherwise, they're designated as pets. All the other ones, like wild animals who happen to make it inside, very rarely make it past the first floor. We'll get to the pet menu after we open inventory, which is the next step. Now that we put about 20 minutes between my earlier mention of Boran and I wanted to continue our previous conversation. Before we do that, I have a couple of questions about the people running the show. He paused. What is it? Are they always listening? Listening, yes. Paying attention, not necessarily. They expect a certain amount of garnishings of teeth amongst the crawlers. Gnashing of teeth amongst the crawlers. And we NPCs are required to say the name of the organization multiple times during training, so we're mostly ignored. Mostly. You really need to be careful once you start collecting followers. They know they're sadistic assholes, but they don't want you saying it on camera. They take their image quite seriously. I'm no math expert, but when the dungeon opened, there were tons of glowing entrances in my city. They said we were only 150,000 of them seated around the world. It seemed like too many for my area. They have certain benchmarks they try to reach. The AI closely monitors the launch of the game, but there are loopholes. The entrances are rarely distributed equally. 10 million crawlers upon the ceiling of the dungeon is pretty typical. So however it happened, it wasn't on accident. Like I said, they spend a lot of time preparing for each dungeon. Yeah, you mentioned that. You've been here for decades. Does this show only air once every 90 years or so? No, not all, Mordecai said. Different corporations run each season, which appear about every 2.25 of your years. My employer usually has about 5 forward teams working at any given time, and they get chosen to run a season about 1 in 15. So with different corporations running each season in a different world, crawling then is every season vastly different. Oh yes! The Squim conglomerate chooses a different game completely, for example. It's a battle royale style fight. Entire world, and it comes down to one champion. It's good for ratings, but it doesn't make them much money from what I understand. My company is known for making the most elaborate, more entertaining dungeons. Wonderful. And you? I asked. Are you stuck here for the rest of your life? No, Mordecai said, smiling sadly. He looked down at the framed picture of the eagle creature I had placed on the floor. This is my last tour. Once this nightmare is over, I become a full citizen. I receive a moderate stipend, and I am free to make my way into the universe. Will you go back to your home planet? No, he said. It's not open to me. What about the people who didn't go in the dungeon on your world? He paused. We really need to get back to the tutorial. Okay. But what if someone won the dungeon, made it past level 18, the message said if that happens, they gain control of the world. Maybe your world is under control of one of your people. The rat creature grunted. Remember how I said I made it down to the 11th floor? Yeah. A handful of crawlers over the centuries have made it that far. One once made it down to floor 13. One. He died within a half hour of hitting the floor. He was a human like you. Or from another human world. That's the deepest anyone has ever dealt, kid. Level 13. Alright, team. I have about 8 minutes, so I don't want to start a new chapter, but we just hit chapter 5. I feel like we're on a pretty good trek here, but I'm going to stop there for tonight. Surprisingly, I know pretty much what's going on. Yeah, I feel like despite how much context it's giving for everything, it's pretty straightforward. Hi, Hatred. Despite all the exposition, I have yet to understand a lick of it. Well, Hatred, you came a little bit late. But basically what's going on in the book is, we're on Earth. Earth got yanked underground and turned into a dungeon. Like a dungeon crawl, like literally, you know, wall to wall, ceiling. And all of our earthly items and buildings were turned into the dungeon, but it was pulled underneath, right? Down into the dirt. And now we're learning that's basically all owned by alien corporations from across the universe trying to put on a game show for a really hard difficulty. And nobody ever survives. It's a money laundering scheme through the space universe, basically. Yeah, so this chapter was basically the exposition chapter. So what I'm hearing, our protagonist gets to level 18 by the end of the series. I don't know. From what I see, there's only 6 books so far. I don't know if each book is each level. I don't know. Mama Elska really loves this series. She stands by this being one of her favorite reads in like the last 2 years or so. So we're only on the start of exposition. Probably when we next read, it'll be start going, you know, the actual dungeon crawl. This inverse isekai, wouldn't it be? It is kind of inverse isekai. It's on our world, but everybody else is dead. Not the one person dead put into another world, it's everybody else is dead on our world. Oh, there's absolutely gonna be more princess dead. They just said if you have a high enough intelligence, you get placed as a competitor, right? So their cat has enough intelligence to be a competitor. So his cat, Donut, probably has enough intelligence to at some point probably speak or something, right? Imagine if they get to the third floor and the cat, you know, gets to choose their class and their race, and the cat chooses to become an intelligent being, right? If it can even think that far, right? What's it called? This book series is called Dungeon Crawler Carl. Seems like an Alien Ready Player 1 mixed story. It's already better than Ready Player 1, to be fair. You're enjoying the reading? I'm glad. Absolutely. Donut's the real protagonist, not Carl. Fuck Carl. Man, what kind of name is Carl? Oh, Jimbo. You know, that guy from Jimmy Neutron or whatever? Oh, Jimmy. Dungeon Crawler Carl. C-A-R-L. Don't it become a cat girl? I don't know. Would the cat know what cat girls are? Croissant! I got me a croissant! What you're saying is my fat ass cat can finally be useful if I get those 20,000 kills. Kilometers of depth into the dungeon? Yes! So start getting on it, Hatred! Croissant! Croissant! No, why are we all immediately going to cat girl, hot girl, cat person? What if the cat wants to be a giant hobgoblin with the strength of 20 and it only knows Zug Zug and it just has club and it go bonk? Like, you don't know what the cat wants. Today I went to the dungeon and I got a croissant. What if the cat is actually Donut? Is a donut? Like, made of donut? Would you become a bear girl? I don't know what I would do. I don't know. It's tempting to be like a big, you know, like swole bear lady, right? Just full muscle. Yeah, probably. The donut is made of cat and the cat is made of donut. Is it like one of those videos, you know, where they go to slice like what looks like a baby, but it ends up being cake? Is that what it is? It's a cat, but you slice it and it's a jelly-filled donut. Mind blown, Tyler. You got me. So with that, we're only on the exposition part. We'll get to I'll probably pick up next. We already got like plenty of blood and guts, which is pretty nice. Mama Elsko already spoiled the first little bit of the very first, 3 pages. The lady's head is on the, the ladies get squished and her head's on the ground. She was trying to use that to entice me to read the book. So we picked it up. We'll probably, like I said, maybe like once a week if you guys want. If we enjoyed it as like a sort of, like I said, a relaxing fit time, it's just to relax. We read a book, hang out with each other, maybe a few quips here and there. If you guys like it, we'll do more. If not, we'll move on. But let me know what you think. But if you enjoyed it, we'll do more. So head squishing was only in the first page and not the rest of the book again. No, so apparently this book is full of violence, and it's a adventure comedy book. So eventually, it's gonna be fun. You missed it, Hatred, but his cat shit in his the bird or the rat, Mordecai. The cat pooped in his mother's ashes, and that was in the first couple pages, and you missed it. So it is supposed to be a comedy. Yay! But I love violence. I enjoy book reading. We'll do more. And I'll make a more atmospheric environment when we get to it next time. I'll make sure I actually have the I don't have a fake fireplace. I'll get a real fireplace. We get some candles in here. I'll put on my blue light glasses. Gives you time to work on voice. It does let me do a lot of voice work. That's true. I enjoyed it more because it means we can have different books and stuff, and Brie can work on a voice acting. It is very true, Steve. That's kind of how I looked at it. And I looked at it as a way to, like, not have too much pressure on what we're doing, right? Because reading a book is just, you're reading a book, right? It's not like you don't really have to, well, I want to perform still, but I'm not, like, trying to reach Apex Legend #1, right? Or whatever that I usually try to do. It kind of, my competitiveness gets to be put to the side, and I kind of get a breather. And I think it might be good for me, too. I can't believe I missed the cat poop arc. Don't worry, I'm sure there'll be plenty more. It's really, yeah, well, I mean, what I mean by that is, there's not a lot happening physically. It's all, like, mostly mentally, and you kind of, like, get a step back. Because that's what books are kind of what they're for, right? You're not doing too much. It's a relaxing thing. Invoke your brain more. So it's kind of like getting away from everything that I normally do. I gotta start ranking in the book reading lobby. Violence and remains desecration. Now you're talking about, I'm telling you, I bet you anything there's a lot more. And I'm pretty sure Mama Elska's gonna be ecstatic when I walk out this door and I say, hey, Mama, we started reading Dungeon Crawler Carl. She's gonna go, did you see the point when they, like, exploded this dude? And I'm like, I'll probably be like, I'm not there yet, Mama. About to bust some emotionally powerful voice acting work. I'm gonna try. Like I said before, I want to work more on voice acting stuff with you guys, and I definitely think this could be an avenue for it, because, that's all what reading is. I do need to improve my actual outward of the reading, because I need to do, like, actual, like, better I was mentally taking notes of how I was reading too. I need to do better pauses at periods, and try to get used to reading digitally. I don't think I've ever read a book digitally. So there's like some fixes and stuff I gotta get in there too. I am getting to diamond book reading. Sheesh. I'm rookie. I'm not even ranked yet. I've read like 10 books since I've woken up. I don't read a lot. The Count of Monte Cristo? How's that? I don't know anything about it. Get more than one voice? There's only 2 characters speaking at the moment. Yeah, I'm still in my placement matches. I'll place high. Thanks. I'm glad somebody believes in me redacted. Pretty good. It's about average. That's not bad. Should enter the speed reading tournament. You guys know how bad at reading I am, though. I'm really bad. This is also to improve myself in its own in my own way, right? I'm terrible at reading. I am the worst, the absolute worst when it comes to, like, we read lore snippets in video games. You know, I pop up whatever in New Vegas, and I'm like, and then Kaisar went to this, and he said to do that, and then, hold on, guys, I think I skipped a line, and then he went to do that. Terrible. The Count of Monte Cristo is one of the best and oldest action-adventure books that exists? Really? Hold on, I gotta Google this. Oh, I gotta turn off the fireplace noises. Actually, no, we'll leave it till the end. And her Legionnaire grind set. I'm always on that grind set. I'm on that Corp Cop Crunch grind set. Wow. Oh! Is one of the authors' most popular works along the Three Musketeers. Oh, it's by the guy who wrote the Three Musketeers. Oh. Yay! I knew I'd heard of this, but I didn't know what it was. Or who. The more I know. Yeah, that's basically how I live my life, Hatred. And then I get in trouble. But I don't know I'm in trouble. I'm innocent. I don't know. Well, yeah. That's probably gonna be, though, it for tonight, everyone. Like I said, if you enjoyed tonight, let me know your feedback. This was originally gonna be like a one-off joke thing, but I decided to try it out as a real thing. If you guys want one-off joke things, then I'll turn it over to be something like that. But if you want legit things like this, where we're reading, you know, I went with a comedy book, hopefully, so we can, you know, enjoy it as we go. A bit more on the mature side. Hopefully you get people more involved. But yeah, let me know. Good luck. Thank you. Thank you for inventing audiobook Brie. No problem. And then we'll have to do like supercuts where I have the whole audiobook, right? We'll have to do that too. You liked it? All right. Yeah, true Hatred. Never hurts to boot the instat by hard work. I'm not wasting those free level ups. I'm putting, if I level up, all of it's going in the strength. But I'll work for the intellect. Oh, you like to tell us? Thank you! I feel like I definitely could have done a little bit more, but I kind of wanted to be done. Either way, have a good night. Thank you. So with that, hold up. I gotta get the usual up. I also need my allergies to stop killing me. That would definitely help. A lot of pauses were because my nose is stuffy. But thank you to everyone who watched. Mangler, Leon, Hatred, Ezekiel, Telos, Berserker, Damascus, Redacted, Raymond, Sloopy, Tiberian, Steve, oh, my nose. Tyler, Butterby, who else? Leon, Juicebox, 52. Trying to remember other names I saw as I glanced up. Go Tanks. Did I say Nightmare yet? And then, if I forgot you, yell at me. And then, thank you to our members, whether gifted or on your own village. Oh, John was here. Thank you, HBG2, John, Abutan, Bahamut. Bahamut was here. Anon, Lucy, username, Alex, Outsider, Shez, Dario, Professor, Man, Nami, Random, Jordan, Alex, King Killa, Matt the Beast, Tyler, Ezekiel, Butterby, Belly, Cart, Cookies, Butler, Swoon, Ronnie, Crowdword, Another, Warren, T-Dog, Go, Griever, Redacted, Fantastic, Raymond, Go, Take, Tiberian, Nightmare, Berserker, Telos, Damascus, Taco, Mossy, and Mary. Woo! You mentioned me, right? I'm gonna do it again. Thank you, Raymond. Yeah, my allergies have been pretty bad. Ever since the storm, the skies, or the air has been just humid and just full of garbage. I'm dying. I love this song. Thanks, Morgler. Why my name in quotations? Because you're a monster. Stand up for the National Berserker Anthem. All right. You guys are fantastic. I gotta go for tonight. I gotta work in the morning. But per usual, thank you all so much again for your patience through some stuff that I'm going through. And nature trying to come back at me. And I'm in my constant battle with Thor the last couple of days, you know, all that stuff. You know, I'm very busy, but thank you so much for your patience. It means a lot that no matter what happens, you guys are there by my side. So, thank you for being there for me and everything you do. You guys are fantastic, and I love you all very, very much. Thank you for making everything so much better. Every time something rough happens to me and I come back and you guys are there, I feel whole again. So, thank you. You guys are wonderful. I hope you all have a good night, and I will see you next time, alright? Bye-bye, farewell, and have a good night. Bye! Ah!